Good morning. This is Norma Cowie for our Wednesday Norma Talks. Today we get to explore the number 9 with the tarot. Now, number 9, like this is the end. I can't believe it actually how long it's taken to get to the number 9. But I wanted to explain a little bit about number 9 before we actually explore into the pictures of them. Now, there are two things when I'm doing readings I look for in the numbers working out is your birth path and the personal year. And the birth path is where you add everything up, and for me, you bring it to the lowest number, which will be between 1 and 9. Now, when I began reading years and years ago, I began to notice certain patterns with people that were coming. And very often the people that were in birth path 9, one of the things they would ask was, what am I here for? Like they couldn't get a sense of what they wanted to do or where they wanted to be or where they wanted to go. And one of the things that I began to come to terms with as the kind of years rolled by a little bit was that number 9 birth path was a different birth path from most. In a way, they're given a special element because it is a 9. And what I found was that they can create very quickly and easily. But how do we create? We create by how we think, how we feel, how we respond. So the thinking process in a number 9 birth path is incredibly important. And what happens is they don't seem to get, what's the word I want to use, really very clear on what they want or where they want to go, what they want to do. And I found that ones that worked with me and began to work very much with that, their lives changed a lot and they began to succeed, which is what they were wanting. The other element is the 9, a personal year, which we all have, regardless of our birth path. We go year by year. There's 9-year cycle. Now, the 9-year cycle is the ending of a 9-year pattern. So it has a lot to do with endings. After the 9, you go back to 1 again. And so what I tend to do when I see a 9, I usually also include the 1. So I'm looking at a 2-year cycle. 9 as things are finishing, 1 as things are opening up. So it's sometimes very, very important to understand where you are in your cycle and like which year are you in, because each one has a little different emphasis, a little different vibration in there, a little different awareness. And I find the number 9 is really, really important when it shows up. The same thing if it's in your name, letters like I, or I'm trying to think of the other 9 that there is, but there's not the I's in particular quite often will crop up. And those are number 9s. And I found mainly because my own daughter had it in her name. She had an R and an I that came together. 2 9s, tremendously idealistic. And I find that, and when I see that in a person's name, I will say, you've got to watch your idealism. You've got to be a little practical here, because especially if there's nothing else that's grounding them, because they have this idealistic viewpoint. So that's one of the things that I noticed with number 9s in your name. So just a little bit more as before I pull out the numbers of the pictures, of where we are here. And I was going to do this one there. Number 9. Wow. We're going to go through the lower arcana first of all as to how this is. Now remember, number 9 is ending that cycle, and you'll find they're very different. And that's exactly right. You never know what you're getting with a number 9. But when we look at the ones, remember the ones have to do with your ideas, how you're thinking. And look at this. He's got all these ideas here that he's defending, he's protecting. And it's one thing is to really notice when you move into wanting to defend what you believe, what you think, how it is. Because all that is that you could have a voice could change, you could have a different, more emphatic, and you can see by his little bandage in his head here, this is a war that he's done. And so, yes, you're very determined, and this is how it is, and this is how it should be. But the reality is that you're defending. And what we find when we're defending is that really, we're not really in communication very, very well. but it's in here. You're stuck on a certain idea. You're stuck on how it's supposed to be. You're stuck on where and what it is going. So it's really like knowing that, and of course the wands, they also have a 10 of wands, which is when the person is just, their mind is so clouded. But and we dealt with number ones way back many weeks ago now. So number 9 in the wands is very stuck, very like, this is how it's supposed to be. I'm right. Even the configuration here is that you've got 3 wands on one side and 5 on the other. And if you remember, 3 is creative, but 5 is confusion. and so he's got the 9th one, he's defending it all, whatever it is, as his ideas are fine and right and doesn't want to listen to anyone else. Then you get to the cups, which is the value of life, whether you're happy or sad, and you'll see they're all displayed here. And the person is very happy. The only thing in here that is not happy is the way his arms are crossed over his body. That also means not necessarily open, but it's like, look what I've got. Look at my life is so full and so happy. A little bit rotund, you know, he's well fed, he's doing all those lovely things, and life in a way is good. And the 10 of cups is also a very great symbol to have, because it's a happiness, a celebration. So he's very happy here. One of the things that I will say in readings sometimes to people is that you can get too satisfied. There's no action in here at all except saying, okay, everything is fine. But sometimes you got to be just a bit careful of being over, I don't know what, there's a word and it just won't come to me right at the moment, but it's like being just a little too comfortable in your zone of knowing that, because it wouldn't take much happening and those cups could fall off there. There is a word, and I'll probably remember it after I finish talking. Sorry about that. But anyway, just remember, when a 9 comes, it does mean life is good. Then we go to the 9 of Swords. There's not many symbols that have a total black background, and you'll see in the devil also has one. In the 10 of Swords, the darkness is rising. The sun sets, the light's beginning to come in, but not in the 9 of Swords. This is depression. This is sadness. This is where all the bits and pieces of your life that you're not happy with, and those are all the swords here, all lined up. And so the only thing in here, there's a couple of things that I really like in the small way. Down here, there's a little, what would you call that? Look, it's done into the bed, bottom of the bed, and it's a picture of a swordsman felling another, like they've had a sword fight, and now the sword's going in. And now we've got all these swords up here. The woman who's in here, her face, she's crying, or symbolic of that. But look at the bedspread. The bedspread has the red roses of desire and astrological symbols. So this is the hope in here. This is the hope. We've got to basically get up off the bed and deal with the issues. I mean, it's knowing that if you're feeling depressed, go do something, because find something to do, get yourself moving, get the body moving. Otherwise, the emotion is heavy and hard and sad and miserable, basically. So the 9 of Swords, we will all experience it at some time in our lives, because we're here to, as I believe, as the emotional planet, to feel and experience all the emotions. It's what you do with them that is really important. Being stuck in the 9 of Swords is not fun at all. And often you don't even want to hear what anyone has to say to you, because this is what you're dealing with. So we'll move on to the 9 of Pentacles. 9 of Pentacles, the material affairs of life. Here we've got a woman, and again, on her dress is little flowers that are made like the Venus sign, which is love. We've got 3 pentacles on one side of her. down. Remember, that was where they were building, like the church element, and the pinnacles weren't very clear. And 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, 6 and 3 and 9. Right, Norma. Get your. I'm gotten 5, 3 and 5. That's 8. No, where this is 6. The 6 of Pentacles is where the money is distributed. There's a merchant distributing the money. But what it's showing here, and I find this is a lovely symbol on the whole. There's the hawking, because that's what noble people did. They had hawks, and they had on the hand with a little cover over the head. But you see these 2 trees here? Very often when I'm doing a reading and this comes up, my attention go, I'm a reader that, where does my eye go? So, because I'm always making the story up from however they read out. But this is very encompassing. So this is like the lady of the manor. Oh, I forgot to mention the grapes. In the garden here, there are grapes here, and they're all ripe and ready to eat, and the leaves, and that's abundance. So there's lots of abundance here, but there's restriction. And it's like very often in the olden, because these are coming back to often olden times, where the woman had a very nice, she's in her castle, everything is there, but it's restricted because of those 2 trees popping up on either side. They have her bound in there. So each one of these, in some ways, of a number 9, which is to a degree completion, there are restrictions here. So when we go to the higher arcana, things begin to shed a little bit more different life. I'm just going to build these up a bit more here. Now, number 9 is the Hermit. And the Hermit is standing high up on the snowy tops of the mountain, looking down with his lantern. And there's so many points in the star and everything. And he's got his staff, and he looks down. I remember being told way back that what this says, where I am, you too can be. In other words, he's got the knowledge, he's got the awareness, he's shining the light for others that want to come and join him on top of his mountain. But that answer to me is very much like the answer is within you. You have the way, you have the knowingness to create that knowingness, that connection. And it's all about the star in the lamp, all about the knowingness of that. And if you remember back in the star symbology, there was a sense of knowing of self. Now, that was number 17, I believe, which was last week. Now, we come to the devil. Why is the devil in number 18 coming into a 9? But let's explore what the devil actually is. I'm just trying to think, you know something? I made a mistake. It's not 15. The moon is supposed to be up here. Okay, just hold on a second here. I actually have messed up this morning as I was putting this together. And for some reason, if I can be really quick here, which I'm not, yes, I've got it. This is the symbol. I'm going to stop the share for a moment here, and I'm going to get bigger so I can put, this is the symbol that's number 18. Where did I get? We went over the devil, that's number 15. This is the danger symbol in the sense of emotionality and awareness and being. It's like the symbology in here is interesting. We've got water with this crayfish thing coming out of the water, where it does not belong, by the way. If it comes out, it dies. You've got a wolf and a dog, which is conscious and subconscious mind, baying at the moon. And there's 2 pillars. And if you remember the death symbol, there were pillars on the journey showing you're getting near the pillars, which is you go back to the high priestess where you make a choice of which way you're going. Now, I didn't check my number, I think, gosh, but anyway, here we've got the moon with the sun coming out behind. I just have to look at this something here. I know the number, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There's 15. yards of light. I used to know that off by heart. Sorry about that. And because I messed up with the wrong symbol, I can't believe I did that. I can. It was early in the morning when I started this. Now, what we see here is this pathway that comes out of this pool of water. Water is always synonymous in this mythology as emotion. So what is coming out here? Because we are emotional beings. What are we doing with our emotions? How are we responding? Are we going to go get out of control, go out and into this pathway that leads through the pillars here into the unknown? Or are we going to move beyond? Because beyond this symbol here is the sun. We have to learn how to be in command of ourselves. We have to learn how, what, when, and where that we do that. And if we can't learn that, then we actually almost go back to the beginning until we do. There are times when our emotions overtake us. Yes, Nine of Swords show that. Even the Nine of Wands, we can get to that point. Yes, there can be restrictions, which in a way, the Nine of Cups, which is a lovely symbol to see, and the Nine of Pentacles also show restrictions at times. It's not perfect. And so it's like, what are we doing on this emotional state? Because in the devil, we know we're emotional. We know we're acting irrationally and wanting for power or wanting to go over whatever. It's very obvious to us. The moon is not obvious. It's sneaky. It'll come out. It's devious within itself. I usually just find is that because we don't want to admit that's what we're feeling. That's why when people who study with me and excuse me, and work with me, we talk about that the body's way of talking to us is through emotion. Feelings come up. If we can learn to name them, the feelings go down. I found in my life personally is when I don't want to acknowledge something, that's when things begin to get rocky and not flow the way I want them, and I don't feel as good as I need to feel. And sometimes it can be the funniest little thought that goes in there, and it's like a worm, but it gets bigger and bigger. And that's how the moon operates. And then it grows, and then all of a sudden you're not feeling, you're just not feeling excited, and you're just generally down. It's a very dangerous energy at times, and we all will go through that. In fact, I believe we go through every one of the symbology of the tarot at some point of time. But to become aware of what your feelings are actually doing, to become aware of where and how, and are you being as absolutely true within yourself as you could be? Are you utilizing what you know? Are you looking to the sun? Are you looking to the main force of life that is there to be able to move with us and bring with us? Are you doing that? Because if you're not, then what you're going to do is end up going back to the beginning and relearning. And we do that sometimes. And if we know and catch ourselves very often, then we can move into that, the sun, which is a number one. And it just, we're looking at things in a whole different way. I apologize again for picking up the devil instead of the moon. I really don't know why I did that early, but well, I did. So it just goes to prove we make mistakes. We do things that we don't expect to do. And the thing is, I learned very early, if you've made a mistake, own it and apologize. No, I could stop this and stop from the beginning and make it absolutely perfect, but that's not life. Life isn't always perfect. You're not always impeccable in everything that you do. And if you think that another person needs to be, you need to stop and look at your judgments. What are you judging? We're just people, and people will make mistakes, or they'll say things that without thinking very often. which I used to do for many, 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 many years. Life is a journey. And each one of us goes on the journey. And each one of us comes to the end of that journey at some point of time. And it's like, what have we gotten? How have we taken that journey and made it a part of us? What did we get out of that? What did we come to understand and learn? One of the things I was taught many, many years ago, and I've thought about that again, is that everything adds. When I first ran into that saying through one of my teachers, everything adds, was like, but there's so many things I don't really want to be coming in, but it does. If it's coming into your life, there's an attraction there somewhere. So everything adds. So what am I learning from this? What am I gaining from this? Now, I went through a period of time when everything was learning, and to the point that I was beginning to get like, am I ever going to see, clarities kind of thing without all these things going on? But then it subsides because you begin to become aware of what you really think and what you really feel and how you want it to be. So it becomes different. And that's what these 9 symbols talk about. May not be perfect, but there's things to enjoy. Both the 9 and of cups and the 9 of pentacles talk to that. They talk to that. The 9 of wands and the 9 of swords will talk more about how we create issues, which will lead to the moon, which will lead there. So it's always choice. So everything adds. What do you choose to do with that? And that's what I say to my clients sometimes. You've got a choice here. What are you going to choose to do? You're going to be depressed about it and upset about it, or beat yourself up. Very often too, the depression of the 9 comes because we're beating ourselves up because we didn't handle something as well as we should, etc. And even should is a judgment. Who says you should do this or that? What happens, happens. What do you do with it after? That's where you listen to that inner self. That's why the hermit is there as a 9. The answer lies within. What do you really want? What do you need to do to go solve the issue, if there is an issue? But whatever you do is become aware of those different emotions, different feelings, how you protect yourself, how you get sad. You push things away. Sometimes we do, but how do we do that and enjoy what we do have? Yes, sometimes life is limiting for many, many different reasons. But how do we handle that? What do we do with that? How do we bring that? And that's what number 9s teach us. We can have it all, or we can lose it all. But we can also pretend to ourselves that no matter what, we're right. You got to watch for the righteousness, but maybe that's a conversation for another day. Life is a journey, and you want it to become the best it can be for you. That brings you satisfaction and joy, and looking forward to your own personal growth, and in the sense of connection, as you've heard me say many times, to the universal energy, the love energy that's there. I call it the love source because I work with it all the time. And it's so refreshing when you allow it in and just let go. And then the answers come. You're not alone in this world. There are other people who are there to help, to aid, to support. And I know sometimes when things are tough and things are hard, it's funny, my eyes get watery behind, because I know those times. I've been there myself. Just know you're not alone. And sometimes when you reach out, the person that you need to know, that you need to see, that you need to have will come into your life at that point. And if not, the energy of love can fill you up inside. And as it fills you up, then you'll begin to feel whole, and you'll be able to have the enthusiasm to go back into the fray of what we call life. I trust that from this number 9, because that really completes all the numbers. I may decide to do some other things another time with different combinations of the symbology. But I trust you've enjoyed this, looking at the numbers through the symbolism. And even though I messed it up today, luckily I realized, well, hang on a minute, that didn't fit. So we can move forward and grab life 2 hands, no matter where you are in relation. There's things to look forward to. And where I am up here, my family in New Zealand, they're all heading into winter. But up here, we're heading into summer. We're going to have a very, very hot weekend. Mother's Day is coming up on Sunday. I shall talk about that on a Sunday thought for sure, as I am a mother. And but also my son has his wife as a mother. And lots of things to celebrate. Look for the celebration in life. Look for where you can celebrate and what it can be and do. I give thanks to you. And I give thanks. And by the way, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I would appreciate that. And also, I'll be back Sunday, then back Monday for mental mind treatments. Bless you. Have a great day. Thank you.